Mr. Raila Amolo Odinga, after the 2022 election and when he was not declared as the President of the Republic of Kenya, he went silent, then later on emerged and began what he called himself as consultative meetings. He went around the country talking to people that he calls them barazas, and at the end of the day he came out with information that he has used as the framework of what he intends to do. He intends to conduct a mass action, as he has termed it himself. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we want to interrogate briefly in this recording. And before I do that, I would like to encourage you to kindly subscribe to our channel so that this channel will be able to reach out to many other people and they will be able to get this kind of information that will be able to help them to look at leadership in a different perspective. Now, a lot has been happening, especially where the Kenyan politics is concerned post 2022 general election. And so the opposition leader, Mr. Raila Amolo Odinga, has come out to reject the result of the election, and he has also rejected the election of President William Ruto, and terming him as illegitimate president. And he has said that in his statements and in his baraza meetings that he has evidence from the whistleblowers and other sources that they were able to win the 2022 general election. And for that reason, he came up with 3 demands. One, he would like to have the server opened. And secondly, the process of coming up with a new IEBC to be stopped. And this, among other demands, he has come up with as what has led. And actually, the other major demand, the third one, he wants the president to step down and to leave the office. And so these 3 major demands, among other demands, has created a very confrontational space between the government and the opposition. And so the opposition gave 14 days ultimatum, and they said if these 3 things are not adhered to, they are going to go to the street to the people, and they're going to conduct peaceful demonstration, peaceful mass action in their own words. Let me begin from this point. First of all, what they want to do, is it something that is legally accepted? What I want to say, of course, if you know the Constitution of Kenya very well, you agree that the Constitution gives room for things such as demonstration, peaceful demonstration, picketing, and this, among other things, have been allowed. And so anybody who wants to talk out their mind through such a platform, then they are free and they are able to do it, as long as they follow the right channel and they ensure that they are doing it in a way that does not also infringe on the right of other people in the space. And so that is one thing maybe that we need to really clarify. And the second thing, and actually which I want to focus on today, is the response of these 2 people as leaders in the country. The government has come out clearly to say they are not interested and they cannot heed to the demand of Mr. Odinga and his team. And so this has created a confrontational space, and coming next week, the 14 days ultimatum is coming to an end, and they have promised to go to the street. Now, this is a stalemate in my own view, and it is a stalemate that people are asking who is going to blink first, and because both sides are reluctant to give in, they want their demands met. The government is saying they are the legitimate elected leadership and they cannot heed to the demands of the opposition. The opposition is saying, we know this is what has happened and we cannot accept your leadership. And so this is somehow instilling anxiety amongst Kenyans, and they don't know how it's going to go. And notwithstanding, there's also somehow uproar or anger in Kenyan people because the cost of living is apparently very high, and many people are really going through difficult situations, and so that kind of environment may really not be good when the leader or the leadership of the country who was supposed to be working harmoniously together are in confrontation. And so this may not really help the country. Now, these teams, all of them are leaders, and in my own view, what I think really needs to happen, and I want to agree 100% with the governor of Nairobi, Mr. Sakaja, that people, this is not a time to chest thump. uh, Issues arise, conflicts arise, disputes arise, and they are inevitable. It doesn't matter. Even in that small unit of our relationship, conflicts are bound to happen. Now, when conflict happens, what happens? People are not supposed to just thump themselves. They need to find a way and come up with or initiate a conversation to find a way of solving the stalemate. And that is his suggestion, and he was appealing to the vice president to really see the value of that. And I want to agree with him that that is really what should be done, because if the two are not agreeing, one, the government is already in place. They're already doing what they're doing. And this one of the Mr. Odinga and the team, they're feeling that is not supposed to be the case. And so when we get to the mass action, we know Kenya and we know Africa. Bad elements are going to take advantage of that process. And even the government itself, as we have seen before some time, they take advantage of that process to spoil it so that they can make it look like it's a bad thing. It's not just peaceful demos or mass action, but it composed of bad elements, and that gives them the rights to intervene and to contain it. And so the best way and the most appropriate thing to do is to initiate a conversation between these two camps before we are there, because people may take it light, but this is something that is very delicate, especially to leadership that is still very young in terms of being in the office. You don't know really who is in the office, whether they really stand for them. uh, you can't even clearly tell if the leadership of the police, the army, and all the security apparatus will fully and 100% implement what the government may want. So the best scenario, the best thing to do, um, I'm not saying that they are supposed to share the government or have a portion of it, but they can talk out and come out with the best solution as leaders. And that is what leadership is all about. If they cannot do it themselves, they can bring on board people who can help them do this. We have the church which can help them do this, though we know at some point the church has been culprit. We can have some credible physical faces, credible personalities who can help to do this. And also these two people themselves, they can still come up with their own team, and the both of them can come up with a good structured structured formula on how they can talk about these two things, because my worry and my concern is if we allow it to get to the point of mass action, we don't know how it is going to unfold. And so this is a probability that we do not want to engage ourselves in it. Even losing one Kenyan, that is a loss. And is not the right thing to do. And losing that small business, not giving a chance to that that hawker who is selling small items on the street, but he can't or she can't sell because the space is being occupied, is not the right thing to do. But at the same time, we cannot again dismiss the people who are coming out and who are claiming that there is a problem. They have to be listened to. Their case has to be listened, and even the Constitution give them the right to be listened and to do what they're doing, as long as it's within the confines of the law and it is peaceful. And so they have to be listened, and the best way to do this is to really come up with initiate talks between these two people. I'm sure initially there are always things happening at the background. Sometimes you've always had pressure from the international community coming in to try and initiate and push a few things. But again, it is really delicate, because if you follow keenly the politics of the country, then there are few things you will need to establish and know that they are not right. And don't want to go into that debate. My objective is to focus on the leadership aspect of it, and what is good, and what these leaders in either of these parties needs to do, so as to really create a good environment and allow Kenya to keep growing and moving ahead. So the best thing to do is what Mr. Sakaja advised them to do. Let them initiate a conversation, and let them sit and discuss out and come out with a way forward before it goes outside to the people. It may not be controlled. The outcome of it may not be good, and we are not supposed. Good leadership should not wait until when things go out of hand is now when they want to solve it. Later, it's like creating a crisis, then you want now the crisis to be solved. And my advice also in terms of leadership, and I agree with PLO Lumumba and other people who have really alluded and said this: the government should not undermine Mr. Raila Amolo Odinga. This is a veteran. They can only undermine him at their own risk. I know they are still new in the government. I know their leadership is still fresh. I know most are still young. They may want to prove their muscle, but that eventually does not help a country. A country is helped out in situation, in scenarios, in context such as this, by sitting and having a hard discussion. And this discussion, it may mean that the government may have to give in some of the things. The opposition may give in some of the things, so that at the end of the day, we have a win-win scenario where the country as a nation, the nation and the country as a nation, and the nation as the people becomes the winner. So the King bless the leadership of Kenya, and I hope that there will be a good initiative to solve this impending challenge that appears to be ahead. The King bless.